Hello and welcome back to another reading journal video. I haven't done one of these in a long time and I thought I would do one now because I have filled this journal. It is absolutely bursting, and so I thought I would give you a little tour of what's inside. Now technically this journal is still ongoing because I have some spreads that are for the whole of 2023, so I'll be using this one and my new one kind of in conjunction with each other. But let's get straight into it and just have a little look through, have a chat, have a little nose. So now with my reading journals, I don't do a new one every year, I just have them running continuously. There we go. So here is my little cover page and my second cover page to say this is volume 2. This is my second reading journal. This sticker, I said this in my last video, it still does not stay down. So this is volume 2. I created this spread because there was a pre-printed page here that I didn't want, so I just decorated over it, and I really like this scrapbooky feel, and that's what I've tended to go for throughout this whole journal. So then we have the contents page. It's a bit fuller than last time I showed it to you. So again, this is pre-printed and I just decorated around the edge and in the corners here, and then just a little page to say that the first bit of the journal is actually the end of 2022. So I started this journal in December 2022, and this is what all of my monthly layouts look like. So I have a sort of cover on this side with the month on, and then on this side I do a little overview of the books that I read that month. So I just print these off on regular printer paper on my little home printer. So I've got the best book I read that month. I always label this the worst. That doesn't always mean it's a bad book. Sometimes I don't read any bad books in a month, so it's my least favourite of all the ones I read. This one is the longest book and this one is the shortest book, and I have the same layout for every single month, including the double washi tape at the bottom. I like to switch things up with a theme, but I like things to be the same with the layout every month. So that's what every month looks like. And then I also have a stats and TBR page for each month as well. So on this side, I keep a track of my star ratings for the month and the genre here. Now you'll see there's only 4 genres listed for this month. I read a wide variety of genres, so I don't fill this out beforehand. I just add a genre as I read them in that month. And clearly I read a lot of fantasy last December. And then on this side, I write my TBR. I've got 3 sort of symbols that I use to say if I've read something or not. So I tick if I've read it. I put a little circle, I put rollover. That just means I didn't read it this month, but I will read it. I want to read it. And this is DNF. I did not finish it. So this is the kind of scheme I've gone for this December. I change my colour scheme every month. I'm not going to show you the actual journal pages because those are my own thoughts. But I did do the reindeer readathon last December. So here is my spread for the reindeer readathon, very Christmassy with all these different reindeer things, bits of paper and stickers. I feel like I've shown you this many times, so we're going to kind of jump ahead now to 2023. So here is my cover page for 2023, again with the sort of scrapbook aesthetic, that kind of vibe that I really like to go for. And here is my best books of 2023 by month. So again, I just print these off. So these frames are, which I draw out myself, they're 4.5 centimetres by 6.5 centimetres. So that's 9 squares by 13. And then when I put the pictures, I just put them in like a publisher document, Microsoft Publisher, and I edit them to be 4 by 6, or whatever the smallest version within that is, and then I print it off. It's very, very easy. This took me so long. As you can see, we're still ongoing. I haven't got my best books for the last 4 months of the year yet. I've always wanted to do one of these, I don't know what it's called. Is it a Dutch door, I think? Where you cut part of the page out, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity but it took me so long to measure it all out, figure out exactly what I wanted to go where. In the end, it was a bit of guesswork, a bit of trial and error. These were all in pencil originally. It took me so long, but it was worth it. I love how this lines up. That was not planned. I just love how these 2 pages look. I just love it. That kind of mystical woodland theme is just beautiful and I love it. So on the next page, we have my new books versus the books that I have read. So again, these are clearly ongoing. You can see, probably work out the date I'm filming this on based on which squares have been coloured in. So we have 2 graphs here. This one is for acquiring new books and this one is for finishing books. The goal of the year was to have more squares coloured in on this side than on this side. And I don't know if I've been successful in that. At a glance, I haven't, but I love these pages. So on this side, we have 3 colours. Green is that I bought the book. It could be a physical book, a digital book, an audiobook, whatever it is. I bought it with my own money. Orange is a gift, and not as a gift with an obligation. It's not #gifted. It's just a gift, a present. When I started the year, I was like, why did I do that? I'm not going to get given any books until my birthday, which is in November, so I will never use this orange. But I've been surprised. So all of these orange ones were actually gifts from neighbours who were just getting rid of some books. So that's for those ones. And then by far the most used colour, these are ones that were gifted. These are books sent to me for review, digital or otherwise. There's a lot of them. And then on this page, we have dark green for I finished a physical book, light pink for I finished an ebook, and dark pink for I finished an audiobook. So that's a quick that's my overview of my year's reading on these 2 pages. It's just so much fun. I really like having really bright colours, especially for pages like this, that I keep going back to across the whole year. I really want that to be really vibrant. So yes, I'm really pleased with how these pages turned out, and the fact that I'm still using them is just goes to show. So on the next page, we have my books and pages stats. So these are the number of books I read each month and the number of pages I read each month, and therefore the average length of a book I read each month. I haven't filled in August. I'm looking at this and realising I haven't filled in August. I still haven't fixed this. When I first wrote it, I wrote November and October 2 close together, but that means December is also 1 too high. I might not fix that. I might just leave it as it is. Again, I really like the visuals of this page. These are all these little bits and bobs. This paper I had 1 sheet of and nothing else that matched. So it had to go on a singular page where I could just make it match. So then the next page after that, again, I haven't filled this in for August, I'm slacking. So this is my TBR tracker. This is where I shame myself for the number of books on my TBR. So the first column is the number of physical books on my TBR. The second column is the number of ARCs on my TBR. And the third column is my NetGalley percentage, which is slowly creeping up. Very slowly. My physical TBR is not really going anywhere, and my ARC TBR is getting bigger. So yes, this is the page for shaming myself for my TBR. But I do really like to kind of see that progression over the month. I think that's something a journal is really good for keeping track of. And for this page, I really went for sort of vintage botanical kind of vibe. Something completely different, but again, I really like how it turned out. So this page, this is rather just a bit of a filler page, to be honest. I came up with the idea and I was like, sure, let's do it. So this is where I keep track of my NetGalley badges. So you can earn badges on NetGalley, and this is where I keep track of them. These cards and this backing paper were from the same set. It was just a bit of fun. I quite like this, just as a kind of something a bit different to break it up. So now we get on to my reading challenges for the year. So I set myself 3 challenges a year usually, for 3 monthly challenges. So every month I read at least 1 non-fiction book, and here is where I keep track of that non-fiction book. And then I also do the buzzword reading challenge. So that's where there is a buzzword, and every month you read a book that either has that word or a related word. I've gone for B's, of course, because buzzword. And then finally, I have set myself a round the world reading challenge. Now, this page looks completely different from last time I showed it to you. Originally, this was a kind of passport. So it had 2 flaps that opened up, and then there were boxes to write in the country and the book. And I just really didn't like it. It just didn't really work for me. The fold out pages, the fold out flaps just got in the way, I felt. So I tore them off. Well, I very carefully removed them. I used various little scraps to cover up what I'd already written. And then all of my little leftover bits and bobs of pre-cut paper became the passport stamps. So each month I just write in the book, and I've done it like a little journey. I don't know if you can see, I've actually joined them up with a dotted line, but it doesn't really show up very much. So it's a little journey, you go around the route for the around the world. And you'll also spot, so I've got these stickers that I have the month on. I was like, perfect, I'll use these stickers to label each month. But there were only 11 of them, and it was too late. By the time I realised, it was too late that there was no May sticker. So this is a cautionary tale for if you buy discounted craft supplies. You might just have 11 months in your craft supplies. So yes, I'm so pleased with this. I love it so much more than the previous version. It's so much more my aesthetic, my vibe. I truly like it. So yeah. So now we get to the monthly spreads. So here is my January spread, the books that I read in January. And January had a sort of enchanted winter forest theme. And so here are my stats and my TBR for January. I love washi tape stickers. I really like them. I have way too many of them, so I'm trying to use them up. So yeah, this is my stats and TBR for January. And I'll just show you my first page. So this is my journal side. Just have a quick check that no, I didn't write anything that I'm not happy to share with the internet. And so this is kind of how I decorate. I use a bit of washi tape or a sticker or something, or layer up something in the corner. And I also did the mixtape readathon in January. So this was my page to keep track of that. So next up we have February. So my February theme was sort of lilac and lavender. I really like sort of a little bit of florals in February, but I'm not a huge floral person, but I love the colour purple. So that was what I leaned into, and I had loads of this from like one big kit, all of this sort of themed things. So again, here's my overview for the month. And then here are my stats and TBR. I really like this corner. This is a sort of mini version of this is usually what I do on my journal pages. I love the layers, the different kind of textures that you can see. I really like it. So yeah, here are my February stats and TBR. So now on to March. So March, I wanted to have a sort of secondhand bookshop theme, or sort of kind of semi-dark academia as well. And I found this paper that looks like the insides of old-timey books. So of course, that had to be the cover paper for March. And then here again, we've got my stats and my TBR, and a little bit of layering here. This is like a memo thing, like one of those, I can't remember the word for when you have sort of little scraps of bits and bobs, but I've got so many kits of them, which is where I got these from. So yeah, that's my March. And then also in March, I did the tropical readathon. Now, usually for a readathon, I just do a list of prompts and I tick them off. And I was kind of bored of doing that when I did the spread. I wanted to do something a bit different. And also I wanted to take the pressure off completing the prompts. I'm a completionist. If I put a load of tick boxes, I will want to tick them off and I will get annoyed if I can't tick them off. So instead I decided to do a table. It did turn out in the end that I did actually complete all the prompts, but that was more a coincidence. So for this one, and usually for tropical readathon, I go for a sort of jungle theme. So this was a little bit different, a little bit more chilled out. I don't know if you can see, this paper here has flamingos on it, and this one, this is the flip side, it's the same sheet of paper. This one has little monkeys on. And then I just wrote this out myself. I usually use stamps because I'm left-handed, so calligraphy does not come naturally. But I wanted to do something different, so I sort of had a little practice on a scrap of paper and decided to go for this sort of like hand-drawn style font for this this spread. So on to April. So April, you get little sneak peeks of my journal pages. April was, I went for I don't know, I've always wanted to do a Greek mythology theme for a month. And April, I tried. It's really hard to, I don't know, to kind of get that theme really cohesive, I felt. So I went for sort of marble, and I've got these arrows here, which kind of reminded me of like, you know, sort of Trojan War style kind of thing. And this is actually from a Wonder Woman sticker pack. A lot of Wonder Woman stickers we use this month. So now we're into May, and again, like I said, I'm not a very pink person, I'm not a very floral person, but something about May, I don't know, it had to be a sort of garden theme with these soft pinks and blues. So that's what I went for. I had a very big TBR in May, and I also used sparkly pen, which isn't showing up very well in the lights. There we go. I had a very big TBR in May, as you can see. And again, I just had lots of fun just kind of sticking little bits and bobs in for May. And I think it's quite a nice ephemera, that's the word I'm looking for. It's quite a nice ephemera theme. You can get all these little stickers with feathers and flowers on. So yeah, that's my May stats and TBR. And I actually had a whole page blank, so I just decorated it with other bits and bobs, some of which are too big. Like this would be too big really to use on a journaling page, so it's quite nice to get a chance to use them here. So then June, July and August, I did not keep up with this journal. Everything was done retrospectively because I was moving house and then going on holiday, and so it all got packed in a box and unpacked like the end of August. So all of this was done in retrospect. But June, it was summer, but I didn't want to have like a kind of, I don't know, I'd already done garden. So I went for a sort of Mediterranean holiday theme, even though I did not go to the Mediterranean. But that's what I was in the mood for, to be honest, in June. So that's what we got. This is from like a scrapbooking kit, and it's so pretty. So it had to be the cover. And then here is my stats and TBR for June. Again, this is from the same kit, this thing here. So yeah, here's my June stats and TBR. And then July, I had a sort of ocean mermaid theme. I'll just try and get this sparkly washi tape. There we go, you can see that a little bit better at that angle. So I really like doing ocean themes, but I feel like you can only really do it once a year. So I picked July this year, and I went for a more mermaidy vibe than I usually do. I love this corner. I really like doing layers like this, and you can't really see it, but this navy is vellum paper, so you can just about see the sparkly turquoise underneath if it's at an angle. And this sticker here is kind of soft. It's like a fabric sticker. I love the different layers, the different textures. Again, I used a sparkly pen this time, so the colours don't come out very well under the lights. But that's what I did for July. And this is the only month where I didn't use stamps and I used stickers. I really like these stickers. I think my mum got them from somewhere and then was getting rid of them and gave them to me. They're little 3D like thick card stickers, and if you can see that. But they are such a faff. They stick really well onto paper. They don't stick to anything else, including the paper they came on. So every time you use them, you just spew letters everywhere. But I eventually managed to find the 4 that I needed. And the final month in this journal is August. And I don't know, I just wanted something a bit darker this month after a lot of sort of bright and happy colour tones. I was ready for autumn by this point. So I went for a steampunk theme. So here's the cover page with the classic steampunk cogs. And once again, a very lengthy TBR because Tropical Readathon happened in August as well as in March. So there wasn't much room for decoration on this page. This is a washi sticker that I just trimmed. I really like putting a sticker on the corner and trimming it. I don't know, I think it looks really kind of built in when you do that. And if I do this, there we go, so you can actually read my TBR if you wish to. And then I went back to my classic tick boxes for the Tropical Readathon spread. Very, very simple this time, just some paper and a couple of stickers, and then a whole load of check boxes. And then once again, I did have half a page free at the end, so I did a little steampunk decoration page for the final month of August. And then there is one page left to show you, which is the final page of this journal. I really like doing a little to be continued. I think it's a nice touch at the end if I've got the room, and I had a couple of pages left, but it wouldn't have been enough for a new month, so I put my to be continued. This paper, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I only had one piece though. This has got to go right first time, and it was a huge sheet that I cut this out of. It was an absolute faff to do, but it was so worth it. And what I really liked is that because it was so big, I was able to cut a little bit extra, and so my new reading journal uses the same paper. So I really like that I was able to kind of thematically link together the end of this journal and the start of this one. And that is it. That is my completed volume 2 reading journal. It is, as you can see, full to the brim. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any ideas that I could take into my next journal, then please do let me know. Or if there are any ideas you've taken from my journal, then let me know again. Thank you very much for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.